What is going on, Cardano and Cornucopias community? Welcome back to the Dapp Central YouTube channel. My name is Fareed, and as promised, over the course of the next few videos here covering the Cornucopias game, I'm going to be doing guild-specific interviews. And so the very first guild that I'm going to be having the pleasure of speaking with will be the Knights Guild. As a representative and a co-founder for the guild, I've got Moody Hound for a second time on the channel. Good morning, Moody. How are you doing?
Good morning, Fareed. I'm very well. Well, I'm recovering from a bit of a man flu, but yeah, I'm very well. It's a bit cold in here, but yeah, I'm good. Thank you, and thank you for having us back.
Not a problem, and I'm sorry to hear that, but I do want to say thank you for taking the time to still come on here, even though you're not feeling the greatest.
No, my pleasure, and it's always good to promote the guilds, and also it's great to chat away with you.
Likewise, likewise. Now, before we jump into today's amazing interview with Moody, I want to just briefly go over our agenda. Now, if you guys are not aware of Cornucopias, they're going to be a AAA metaverse being built on Cardano right now using Unreal Engine 5. I've got a fully dedicated playlist on my channel covering all of the updates, ins and outs of this project if you guys want to find out more about what they're building. And so as a part of today's video, first things first, we're going to get a personal introduction from Moody, as well as a guild overview surrounding the Knights themselves. Following that, we're going to talk a little bit about how to join the guild, their recruitment process, some of the roles that are available as guild members, and the overall structure of the guild itself. Now, once we're done talking about that, we're going to switch gears and talk a little bit more about the 2023 Cornucopias roadmap, their recent MVP, which should be released as a part of Q2 this year, their mainnet launch, as well as some NFT sales. After that, we're going to talk about the Knights Guild's current development, priorities, and their strategies. And then in closing, we're going to wrap up by highlighting the Cardano community events that they plan on attending. And then we're going to get some closing thoughts and comments from Moody himself. How does that sound to you, Moody?
Brilliant. Looking
All
forward.
right. Yeah, no, this is going to be, I think, a good one. And again, thank you for your time. So without taking up any more time here from the viewers, do you mind giving us a personal introduction and a brief guild overview?
Yeah, of course. So talk about myself. So I have been gaming pretty much all my life from when I was a young child on my Spectrum Plus 3 and a ZX48 Spectrum as well from memory with the rubber keys. That was fun. But no, I've always been absolutely fascinated with gaming, not just the gaming as playing, but also the whole strategy behind how you can maximize the performance in a game. I mean, that started when I was really young on Football Manager, excuse me, the first issue of Football Manager. And I'd have a spreadsheet running. I'd have it wasn't even a spreadsheet in those days. It was a notebook. And I'd be really digging into the stats and how I could really increase performance. And I actually won Football Manager with Coventry City, which was a fantastic achievement. So I've been a gamer all my life. I love gaming. I love building guilds. I love being involved in kind of like community leagues and all of that good stuff. I'm also a tabletop gamer as well. So I play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, a lot of Games Workshop games. So my gaming background is quite good. With respect to work, I joined the army actually when I was very young. I was a bit of a lost child, and I didn't really see much for me where I was growing up. And I loved sport, so I just joined the army, got a really good education in the army, and left the army after about 5 years. Moved to London, and I started working in engineering and communications as an engineer. And then I realized I was a much better project manager than I was an engineer. And I worked my way up in the project management profession. And I now lead a significant organization delivering huge infrastructure and systems projects in London. I'm also a non-exec director for a few companies. As I've got into my later part of my career, I've got some really good business transformation skills. And I get employed as a non-exec director to help shape organizations. So that's a bit of my work and gaming background, but I'm at the stage of my life now, Fareed, where I'm pretty stable, pretty secure. And my motivations have shifted a lot in recent years, and I'm so much more interested in actually leaving a legacy now. You know, I'm not chasing a career anymore, and I'm just really interested in building something that is going to benefit others. Really, a bit of a legacy. So that's a bit about me.
Awesome. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. So I'll tell you a bit about the guild as well. But before we do so, because I was on here a few weeks ago,
Hmm.
I'd just like to give some highlights of what's happened since I was last on your great channel. So the most I was on your channel to promote the Knights Gauntlet, which was the fourth in the Complete Knight series NFT. That mint actually sold out. It took about, I think it was about 36, 48 hours, and we sold out 1,110 NFTs at a price of between 175 and 200. The whitelist had a reduction. So we are really, really pleased that in a market like we're all currently going through, we sold out the Gauntlets NFT. We have since then started to procure land assets from those funds, from those proceeds, and we've already accumulated in the region of about 70 to 75 land assets in our second asset pool, and our adder handle is knights.05. So I like to talk about that because you can actually see this wallet growing and growing. I think we've just dropped into a top 10 of Kopi landholder assets. We are aiming to get about 300 land assets in that wallet, which will be great for the guild and great for the Gauntlet investors. Some other new updates since last time. We are so pleased that we have been accepted to be listed on Safe Space Alliance. So the Safe Space Alliance is an LGBT community. Well, it's not a community, it's almost like an organization. And they work with a lot of digital spaces or kind of like mobile spaces, all of these kind of like non-physical spaces. They do physical spaces as well, but they actually list, they go and vet and look at your community and your content, and then you get listed on their website. So we're really pleased that we are listed on the Safe Space Alliance. We don't intend just to prioritize one community, but we feel that being part of the LGBT community, it is such an inclusive and an open community. We're really, really proud to be on there. So that's a great achievement over the last few weeks. We've also got our first night gallery built on Carter Station. You can actually, we've got a large plot on Carter Station. We work with that team. Well, let me rephrase that. The team really took control of building our unit, and we've got our gallery in there. So it's got all of our 4 NFTs issued to date, and then you can see a load of curtains closed for the rest of the Complete Night series. So that's been a great update. We had last Wednesday, the 8th, was International Women's Day. We had a competition within our Discord. It was very Twitter based. We wanted to really have some visible demonstration of the Knights Guild and Cornucopias supporting and celebrating International Women's Day. So I personally gave away one of my sword NFTs for the best bit of artwork. So that was great to see Twitter full of all of these communities supporting equality. So that was a really good update. We did close the helmet mint. So the helmet was number 3 in our series. We did close that mint. We didn't quite sell out on that mint, but what we have done to reflect our strategy of the guild owning 10% of the total assets, we have also recently burnt 41 of the guild owned assets in helmet series. We've done that one because it's the right thing to do, but we also wanted to show our commitment to maintaining that 10% rather than hoarding more in the guild. So that was good news for the guild. And then only yesterday we had, I think it's our 3rd poker competition. Rune, who's one of our mods and one of our Knight Generals in the Knights Guild, she puts on amazing poker events. I think we had half the Cornucopias team in our tournament last night as well. But yeah, Tizzy Bear won the competition, and Alone Ma was second, and then Paul Allen, who I think is Rob's son, actually, he came third. So it was an absolutely great tournament. I didn't make it because I was wrapped up in bed. So there's some key updates from the last time we met. So what I will do though, Fareed, is because obviously some people may not have heard my overview in the previous video. So I'll just give a very high level view on the Knights Guild. So we have been established for over a year now, and we've had some fantastic results in the last year. Our Discord community is almost 900 in member now, and we are in really good kind of like development of a number of strategies, which is working towards gamers and players, but also then on investors and crypto community. So we're developing a lot of great strategies there. We've got a dedicated leadership team of around about 20. We've got 4 roundtable members, 4 knight generals, and then a knight commander community of around about 15. We were one of the founding members of the Cornucopias Guilds Alliance. We actually drove that project through, and that is now established, and that community is actually growing. So the intent behind the Cornucopias Guilds Alliance is to actually protect the values and the vision of the game through our communities. We've got a fully detailed white paper. It's an evolving document, but that is published, and we've got videos on our YouTube channel which actually go into quite a level of detail, which we probably won't get into in this video, but I'm sure you'll link the white paper in post-production. To date, we have sold 4 NFTs. These NFTs and the proceeds of these NFTs are all directly used to buy in-game Cornucopias assets. So our 4 NFTs have raised over 440,000 ADA to date. And if you look at the circulating value of those NFTs based on the floor price, that NFT collection is in the region of around about 1 million ADA. So that's a really, really successful series of NFTs. When we look at the current market, all of our NFTs are above mint price, and they are all backed by Cornucopias Guild assets. So that's Cornucopias game assets. So that's a fantastic achievement. Our current land base is in the region of around about 300 land plots. We are targeting, once we've procured the remaining Gauntlets funds, to have in the region of 500 plus land assets in the Cornucopias game. So that is really good, considering we're only partway through the Complete Knights series. And yeah, so that's some key achievements over the last year. So the project itself, the Knights Guild is an NFT tech project, basically. It is community and voluntary driven, and we've got our approach is to allow people to procure or part own game assets through our NFT series, and they are all locked away into guild wallets. We also have other options for people who own their own land to stake their assets with the guild, so the guild can actually utilize our assets. So our 2 main kind of like parts of our roadmap is we need to build a significant asset base, which we're in the process of doing now. And then when we get to a point in time in the future, and timing will be so key on this, we will then go heavy into our marketing and recruitment campaign to build our player base. We've got some really key aims as well. Obviously, as I said earlier, one of our main priorities is to be fair and inclusive. We don't want to price people out of the game. We want to give people the opportunity to part own land assets or transport assets. So that's really important to us. And we are building our entire guild over a series of 14 NFTs, 4 of which are issued to date. And they will be coming out between now and the launch of the game. Our main focus on developing our strategies for the game is very focused on data and communications, making sure that the assets and the players have got all of the relevant information linked to relevant strategies, so we can actually maximize the gain from the game. So joining our guild, anyone and everyone is welcome if you follow the Knights Code. The Knights Code is really important to us. It's all about our values and our core kind of like principles. So anybody can join a Knights Guild as long as they follow the code. We are looking for both players and investors. Our main focus is on investors at the moment, because a lot of the people who are buying our NFTs, I don't think they will be hardcore gamers. I hope they are, but we are very focused at building the asset base for our investors. And when we get to a point of time, probably later on this year, we will then start going out to have heavy recruitment on our players. We need to get our tech developed, so players and traditional players aren't put off by blockchain and by NFTs and all of that kind of stuff. So as I touched on, our structure is we've got 3 layers of leadership. We've got the round table. We've got 4 members of the round table. 3 of them are original founders. They lead the guild. We've then got the Knight Generals. We've got 4 Knight Generals. They are the driving force behind all of our strategies and our development. And then we've got a community of about 20 Knight Commanders. We are actually recruiting shortly. We do need to expand our leadership team, especially now that we've got 4 of our 8 asset groups established. We need to get dedicated leadership teams in each of those asset groups so we can develop strategies. We can actually get our voting a lot more streamlined. So we are recruiting. Over the next week or so, we will be sending out some comms on what kind of recruitment, what kind of roles we're looking for. So that's pretty much it on the structure, Freed.
Thank you, Moody, for that amazing coverage of all those topics, right? So I think you hit on how to join the guild, the recruitment process, the available roles in the guild structure. And I just have to say, you guys are extremely organized. And that's one thing that I've noticed, like even prior to me and you getting on this call, you went ahead and actually sent me a slide deck, right? And so just taking a look at the preparation that you guys are going ahead and putting in and making sure that you guys are taking this seriously, because as we know, Cornucopias is going to be a play to earn, build to earn, and learn to earn platform, right? But you guys, I think, are really, really taking this seriously, even though it's going to be a game. You guys aren't just going in there, without any planning. So I do think that that's going to draw a lot of people into your guild who are looking to take this more seriously. And as you mentioned, you've kind of got two different kinds of people in the guild, right? You've got the gamers, and you've also got the investors that may not necessarily play the game, but they still want to at least be able to, participate in some of the revenue sharing and some of these other incentives that you guys have going on in the guild. So I just want to say I commend you for that, and I just commend you guys' organization when it comes to how you guys actually operate as a guild. Now, you mentioned you guys are over 900 members, which is quite impressive, with over a 300 amount of land plots, right? So again, you guys do seem to kind of really be, you guys are aggressively, I would say, accumulating land, which I think is going to set you guys up for a nice run once the actual MVP in the game is released. Very lastly, I just wanted to say, when it comes to recruiting, I think finding the gamers is going to be a lot easier once you guys actually kind of launch, or not once you guys launch, but once the game comes out, right? Because it's going to be actual playable content, right? Whereas right now there's a lot of speculation and not necessarily anything to play, aside from what we've already kind of seen as a part of the Kopi Cafes and the demo that we got to get our hands on as a part of CNFT Con. So that's just what I wanted to kind of respond to there. And I also want to just take a second to say thank you for your service, man. I didn't get to respond after you got done talking about your background, but that was something that I personally was not aware. So I appreciate that, and I can definitely see how and why you've got the structure to you and how you operate.
Yes, some people aren't as welcoming of my structured approach, but it's great. Now, I just wanted to touch on the gaming. So we are having all of these assets will be pointless if we don't get the gamers, and we are really focusing on how we go about that. One of our approaches, which is, as you said, aggressively trying to get a land base, is in-game, that in-game presence. We will have all of our land will have a Knights Guild banner, so people will see that in-game presence. I think that'll be really powerful for people entering the game from multiple sources. Oh, Knights Guild, Knights Guild, Knights Guild. So we're hoping that in-game asset base will be one good way to recruit people. When it comes to actually going out, we are looking to talk to we've already started putting feelers out to traditional gaming YouTube influencers. There's some great games out there. You've got my personal favorite is The Forest, and they've just released a new game called The Sons of Forest. It's part 2 of The Forest. That's a really, really good building game. Some of the creative things you can see in this game that people are building, it is amazing. And there's some really good influencers out there, and that community is really strong. So the whole build to earn element, we can target there. Then you've got the play to earn, and we know all of the existing games like World of Warcraft and all of those great MMOs with the crafting, with the kind of like PvP and all of that. So we've got that kind of target group there. One area we're not entirely convinced on, and convinced is the wrong word, is a bit of an unknown, is how we approach learn to earn players, because that is a concept new to a lot of us, and it's great that the game are developing that stream. But yeah, that's an area we need to develop more. But ultimately, when it comes to marketing and reach out, we're lucky because I'm kind of assuming that Cornucopias Game will have a large marketing budget. They're going to be going to game conventions and all of that. We will just piggyback, and that feels a little bit kind of like a bit of a passenger, but they're an established organization. They're sat on a load of cash. Fair play to them. We will utilize their marketing strategy so we can actually follow up, support the game, but give people options on come and join our guild. So our recruitment strategy is developing. And as I said, it's got multiple facets to it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very good point that you make there in terms of quote unquote piggybacking. And I think that's the right way to approach this, right? Because you guys don't necessarily have all of the vision to how the Cornucopias game is actually going to be rolling out. So all you can kind of do is deal with the information that you get from them in real time, right? So I think you guys will do a good job of adjusting and just kind of figuring things out as you go. But again, I think that's why we have to be very careful in how much information we give our own communities, and in your case, the guild, right? Because none of the actual core game has been released to the community just yet. So I'm sure you guys will do a great job of keeping the community updated. But that said, I want to kind of keep things moving along here. So we've talked about the actual onboarding process, the recruitment, the roles, and the structure. Now let's kind of just quickly shift gears and talk about the roadmap here for the guild as a part of 2023. Now, for anybody who's watching this that isn't aware, the Cornucopias game will be releasing their desktop game launcher over the course of this quarter. And so that's going to be Q2. On top of that, we're going to get access to the racing game MVP. And so if you guys want to get your hands on the first release of this game, you can head over to the official Cornucopias website and actually sign up to be a game tester. That said, Moody, are you guys kind of planning anything as a part of that rollout? And what's the guild's expectations as we begin to see some of these things come online?
So we've obviously got our own roadmap, and our roadmap is broken down into we've got 2 strategies at the moment, one for Company X, which I'll touch on, and one for the Knights Guild. And they are obviously directly linked to the Cornucopias roadmap. When I look at the look ahead for the Cornucopias roadmap, there's some really important upcoming events that are happening, or upcoming releases, which are really important for us to get more information so we can develop our tech and also structure our land base, our asset base to suit. So looking forward, obviously the racing game will be really, really good. I think that'll be very beneficial because that's almost like the first physical deliverable from the game, and that will be, hey, we've landed, we've got a working product. And I actually think that will really support the guilds in actually recruitment and actually building guild member base, as well as building the Cornucopias community. So that's really important. The metaverse launcher, that's really important because that'll start to show us what kind of information we're going to be getting from the game with respect to building our API and how we structure our strategies and our data strategies. So that'll be quite important for us. What we're all looking forward to, and which is really relevant for your channel, is obviously later on this year, hopefully in the further planning section, they've got the guild hall and the membership launch. That will probably cause the guilds a fair amount of oh crikey, we've got to align with what the game's doing. But yeah, that'll be really important for all guilds to figure out what's going on there. The land plot picker, that will be huge. Hopefully by that time, when we look at our asset bases, and I'm sure the other guilds will be thinking the same, where we put our land will be really important. I'm kind of hoping, and it is an assumption, and it's just my opinion, I don't think there'll be a lot of people, hundreds of people looking to go and place their land. I think that the guilds will be very aggressively placing their land because they've never got any intention of selling that land. They want to build a footing. But I kind of think if you've got an investor who owns the land, I'm not entirely sure they're going to place it straight away. That's just my gut feel. So I think that'll be really important for the guilds to actually start taking a physical presence in the Cornucopias space. We're really looking forward to that. And that's a key thing about the Cornucopias Guilds Alliance. We don't want to go into competition with all of these guilds fighting over districts. We will actually, through the Cornucopias Guilds Alliance, have almost like target areas for each of the guilds. So the guild land and our member land can get in a good footing. The tenant key launch, that's really important to us. We need to understand more on that and how that actually builds into our asset base. That's going to be quite key. But what I'm personally most looking forward to is the release of the game economics. That is when things will start getting really, really serious, and we'll get a lot of very intelligent people, far more intelligent than me, who will just then go and try and understand the game economics so we can actually restructure our distribution platforms to give our fair and inclusive reward structure. So yeah, there's so much stuff coming up. And then when we look a bit further next year, we've got the theme zones and the city districts. The city districts, we want to have a separate NFT sale for the city districts. That's going to be a really strong foundation for our guild. So whether that ties into the Complete Night series or whether it's a different series, but that'll be really important to us. So yeah, looking at the Cornucopias roadmap, it is really impressive and exciting. Obviously, we're trying to build our own roadmaps. We've got to give visibility to our members. So our kind of roadmap, we've got two roadmaps. We've got one for Company X, and then we've got one for the Knights Guild. So just looking at the Knights Guild, we are looking to issue a couple more Knights series NFTs this year. One of them will be a charity NFT. That'll be very low priced, and we've got a number of really tangible charities that we want to raise money for. We've got one of our members who is very closely affiliated with a number of charities out in Africa. And we can tangibly demonstrate that after we've raised X amount of ADA, we can actually see something tangible in the community out in Africa. So we're really looking forward to launch that NFT. Another Complete Night series number 6, we want to have a fleet of Skyrunners. So we will be issuing a Knights Guild NFT so we can actually procure our Knights Guild fleet of Skyrunners. That'll be hugely important in the game. Something which I'm desperately looking forward to is we have to go through an entire rebrand of the Knights Guild of Cornucopias. When you've got an ounce, we focus purely on substance and not hype. I think you know us well enough, Rude. We're not here telling the world we're going to do everything. We are just trying to build a really good project, and we've kind of put aside our priorities on how our brand looks and how our artwork looks. So we are in discussions with some art studios. We want to actually go into partnership with an art studio to rebrand the guild and also update all of our artwork so it looks like a really powerful series of NFTs rather than 4 individual NFTs. So that's really, really exciting. We will be launching our website. That's been long overdue, but there's no point launching our website until we've got our artwork sorted out. And then we will also start trickling out the Knights Guild lore. We're desperately waiting to hear from the lore from Cornucopias because we do want to have some alignment between our lore and the Knights and the Cornucopias lore, but we can't wait to start actually issuing to our community what the Knights Guild is about and the history behind the Complete Night and all of our NFTs. So that's going to start coming out pretty soon. We do need to issue player and rank NFTs, and we also need to demo our asset staking NFTs. Both of those two launches this year will allow us to then do demos on our reward platform. We're hoping by the summer that we can actually demonstrate with fake money, but a revenue collection being distributed as per our framework, and the NFT owners able to claim their percentage or their proportion of that reward. So that's a huge milestone for the guild when we can actually demonstrate our reward framework is working. And then finally this year, we need to develop our data center and our control tower. We need to be fully prepared for when that game launches. And our data team, which is developing with the use of an API that we're developing, that will be our data center, and they will be constantly tracking data, looking for margins, looking for opportunities, and then feeding that into a control tower. And the control tower will be a 24-hour communications network, so we can communicate in-game to our players and out of game to our asset owners, so we can actually utilize live data to drive our short-term and long-term strategies. So that's the Knights Guild roadmap. When we look at Company X, as I touched on earlier, Company X is an organization we're establishing above the Knights Guild. Their roadmap is looking like we're at a point now where we will be transferring our memorandum of understanding into a formal partnership agreement with Anvil, and that's to develop our 4 or 5 really powerful tech components. We will be awarding the Art Studio partnership at that level as well. We further need to establish that team. That team has been very light, but we will be establishing that team, and we will be listing that as a formal company. So that gives that protection to the guild with respect to legal and accounting protection, pretty much. That there will be a white paper issued from Company X, and then we have some options about how that will be funded. And then later on in this year, towards the back end, we will be researching other games. We will only be getting involved in games that are of the quality that Cornucopias is, and we would hope to establish Knights Guilds in other metaverse games, Cardano metaverse games, by the end of this year as well. So that's a summary of our roadmaps, Fareed.
So let's talk about your current development priorities and your strategies, and then we're going to briefly touch on the Cardano community events and what you guys plan on attending, and then we're going to get your closing thoughts. So go ahead and take it away.
Thank you. So this is probably a good time to talk about Company X and the Knights Guild. So the Knights Guild, from the outset, is a proof of concept guild. We want to prove and demonstrate that we can build a strong community, that through our Complete Knight series NFTs, we can build an asset base, and those NFTs have strong, solid utilization, that we can deploy our technology so players and asset owners can benefit from that collection of assets and common strategy and direction. That is what the Knights Guild approach is, and it is done purely on voluntary and community driven. So understanding games, understanding cycles of like popularity and stuff like that, and also there is a lot of challenges around building companies or organizations in blockchain with tax and legal reasons and all of that. We can demonstrate that we can build a good guild based on NFT sales and all of that good stuff. What we do need to do is we are going to establish an entity that sits above the Knights Guild, and in that organization they will own the technical, the tech that we're developing. They will own the brand, they'll own the blueprint of the guild. They would look to develop a token, and that entity can then manage all of the legal and regulatory and all of the contracts of the stuff we're going in. So the guild can be a really strong community-driven, a safe place for people to invest, play games, and all of that. So establishing Company X allows us to lift all of that dirty, hard work stuff and get some protection by having formal contracts and that big brand at that layer. And once we've got the Knights Guild of Cornucopias to a point of proof of concept, so when we start demonstrating the complete Knight series works, we can distribute the rewards, then we would look to, through Company X, find other great games out there. I mean, we're talking to Unbounded Earth. I love that project. They're such a cool team. But I would then like to drag and drop what we've done, a really ethical, inclusive guild, and build a guild in Unbounded Earth. Not with our community, there's already communities established in there, but hand over a blueprint, hand over some tech, hand over a complete Knight series equivalent, and allow other guilds and other games to actually establish a good structured guild, which is fair and inclusive, and it's transparent and open. So then once we've got a network of guilds, that provides almost like a layer of resilience for players. So you can swap from one game to another. You don't have to worry about the in-game assets. We can provide that swap function. We can provide a level of common currency across all of these games. And if one of those games folds for whatever reason, at least then you've got almost like sister guilds where you can quickly move over and carry a level of what assets you've got over. So we are trying to fix a real world problem in multiple games and gamers who want to play multiple games, but they've got no commonality between them. So by establishing Company X, it has that blueprint of how to build a really good guild, how to provide the tech which is transferable between other guilds, and just that level of protection. So yeah, Company X is being founded as we speak at the moment.
Such a cool concept, and I've got two things I want to highlight on that. What I kind of got from that is working in a traditional job, right? You kind of want to understand how different bits and pieces work. And if I understand correctly, what you guys will be doing with Company X is kind of cross-pollinating some of these different ecosystems, right? So for example, if you guys have a Knights Guild within Unbound Earth or whatever other metaverse, and you guys have a Knights Guild here within Cornucopias, I would assume that there would kind of be some kind of connection or maybe some kind of even relation between those two communities, right? So I think that will benefit both projects wherever the guilds are kind of installed. And then I really like the fact that you said that if something were to ever happen to one guild on another platform, that you would still kind of have that sister guild to kind of help them out and maybe even foster them to come on and join the other game. So again, I think it's a win-win situation, not only for Company X, but for what other metaverses you guys kind of go ahead and adopt, right? And the really cool thing that you also mentioned there was some kind of template here. And so I think looking forward, being able to iterate, that's one thing that I do in my job, right? Is I learned, I do things better, and I go ahead and I apply my new knowledge the second time around. And so you guys launching multiple guilds, right? Or multiple instances using Company X, I think is going to be key. Obviously, with this Knights Guild and Cornucopias, you guys have probably learned a lot, and you guys will be able to kind of iterate on that, take all the good, right? Apply that, make that even better, and fix some of the things that can be improved on, and make sure that wherever else you launch next time around, that you guys do it even better, even faster, and are even more efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a few things I want to say. So what the aim is, we don't want to go and dominate other games. We want to go into a community, an existing community, and say, look, is anyone interested in developing their guild? Because we've got all of these tools. We've got a blueprint. We've got a complete Knight series. They might want to call it the complete Fisherman series or something. So they can adapt that. So we're not dictating that little brand. Yeah, we're giving them the tools to turn what could be a group of really good gaming enthusiasts to build a guild with the tools they need to do that. So that's one element. It's not almost like a land grab and we want all of this. It's building these communities that have got a common interest and a common kind of like set of values. But also, if we look long term, and I don't know when it's going to be, but the metaverse is one place. The metaverse will have multiple platforms in one place. And that is when the whole vision of Company X is real, because all of these local games, eventually, one day, we hope, will be in one metaverse where you can quite easily glide from one to another. And it's Christ knows when it's going to happen. But we're thinking that far ahead, that one day it's going to happen, and we can't. We all want it to happen, and by having that kind of like thinking now, it's supporting the whole Web3 space. It's supporting the whole the metaverse space. So yeah, it's just giving that player options without having to jump through a load of hoops to go and find a new guild in a new game. And get the gaming world is really fast. Every couple of years a new great game comes out. So getting in early, handing over the blueprint of building a guild, the concept with the tools and the platform, we can just quickly establish this network of really fair and inclusive guilds. So yeah, it's a really, we're really passionate about doing that.
Thank you for all that information and all that detail. That's actually the first time that I personally heard or am hearing about Company X. I thought that you guys were just the Knights Guild dealing just with Cornucopias, but it sounds like you guys have even bigger plans, branching outside of Cornucopias and really using Company X to kind of leverage and get your feet in the door in other games and other Web3 platforms being built right now. And so I just want to quickly just highlight or touch on a few things, and we'll get your response, and then we're going to move on to the next topic. But when it comes to your land acquisition process, I know that we have seen some influencers get an official headquarters from the actual Cornucopias game themselves, right? So we saw, for example, Dan Gambardello, who runs the Crypto Capital Venture YouTube channel, have an official partnership or an announcement surrounding a headquarters in Cornucopia. So my question here is, or at least my line of thinking is, will some of these guilds that we're seeing within Cornucopias also be able to kind of have their own headquarters, right? Obviously, all the land that you guys buy and keep on your own is yours outright. But it would be really cool to see if the Cornucopias game will actually support some of these up and coming guilds and actually give them their own kind of safe space or their own headquarter where all the knights can kind of unite, right? And then similarly, we've got the custom domes as well. And for anybody who's watching that doesn't know about the custom domes, this will basically be a plot of land outside of the regular theme zones that will allow for players to basically have their own events, right? So they're going to be able to have their own concerts, sporting events, live events, etc. And so I'm also kind of wondering, what are the Knights guilds going to do when it comes to custom domes? Because obviously you can use that for just so many different things when it comes to that. And then kind of moving on to the next topic that you touched on was economics, right? I think that a lot of teams are also kind of waiting on this, and that's really going to be a game changer. As we talked about, Cornucopias is going to be a play to earn, which they're focusing on the playing and making sure that it's actually a fun game first. But once we've got the economics, that's when you're really going to see, I think, people really get serious as to their approach and how they actually want to be able to reward all of their guild members for just being there with them from such an early stage. After that, you kind of talked a little bit about your guys' community efforts and what you guys are doing with outreach and collaboration with some foundations in Africa. And I just want to commend you guys on that as well, right? Again, really kind of showing how versatile you guys are as a guild. You talked about some of the inclusion there with the LGBT community earlier and also doing some of this charity work. So it looks like you guys are more than just the traditional guild focusing strictly on the game. You guys are also kind of looking to reach out and help out where you can, which kind of mimics what the Cornucopias game team is also doing, right? We saw them have their NFT to tree sale, which basically saw them giving some of their proceeds back to kind of planting and reshaping, the earth, right? And so I think having that philanthropy side of things is really great for the community as well, because it shows them that you're not just focused on the game, you're focused on other things outside of the game as well, which again, I think is a key factor into drawing people in. In closing here for my responses, you talked about the rank NFTs. That's a first that I have not heard of yet. And so I'm kind of wondering if maybe some of these other guilds are going to kind of start to think about that. Because again, the ranks within Discord are one thing, but to actually have an NFT that dictates your rank, nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can,
Mm-hmm.
nobody can change that. So again, I think that's a really cool feature there. And the fact that you guys will be using blockchain to kind of enforce that really just kind of adds to the decentralization vision that everybody here has within this community. You then kind of talked about the rewards claim structure, which again, I think will be something that kind of proves your guys' development. And once people are actually able to kind of claim and see all of the rewards that they're able to kind of get back from the guild, I think it's only going to build more trust.
Yeah.
Very lastly, you talked about the data center, which I'm a numbers guy. So I'm actually going to be looking to hear a little bit more about that once you guys got that rolling. But that's going to be key, man. Like looking at big data, especially with the metaverse, that's going to have hundreds of thousands of players sooner or later. I think is going to be key towards finding out, what's working, what's not working, what can be improved, that kind of thing. So much good information from you there, man, Moody. I'll give you a chance to respond. But again, I was just excited to hear about Company X, you guys branching out, and all of the different things you guys are doing outside of the guild in Cornucopias itself.
Yeah, look, that's why I love coming on your channel. I've always got to have a notebook because there's this. You ask such good your observations and your questions are so good. You have to have a notebook when you're talking through.
Thank you.
You talked about the HQs and whether the game will allow some level of partnerships with the guild. I don't think they will, and I don't think they should. The reason being, we don't know how many guilds are going to be. At the moment, we've got 4 or 5. That's great, but I'm kind of hoping that in the future we'll have hundreds of guilds, and I don't think it'd be fair for the game to commit to the early guilds to give them a level of platform that they couldn't give to future guilds. So I don't think they will. I know all of the guilds will want their own headquarters, and that's why I'm so keen to see on the guild halls within the Cornucopias roadmap, whether it's going to be some kind of custom dome template, I don't know, but that would make sense to me. But yeah, I don't think that they would have any formal partnership with guilds. Custom domes, we are so excited about that. We've got so many good ideas floating around our Discord. And we also the guild owns a number of custom domes anyway, through our sword NFT. So yeah, we cannot wait to start seeing what blueprints are coming out from there. And we've got quite a recent member in our Discord channel, and she's a techno producer. She produces techno music. I don't know what techno music is, to be honest. But it's almost like my first comment was, are you the 7 equivalent in the Knights Guild? So yeah, and she was talking about putting on like shows and productions. So there's so much stuff coming from the domes. I think that's going to be really, really fantastic for this space. You talked about outreach with respect to the LGBT community and wanting to do really good stuff in Africa. And it's not, that's not limiting. We want to really leave a mark. We was having a conversation in our leadership channel the other day. We're already massively influencing nearly 1,000 people. Yeah, we're not quite on that extent, but we've got a heavy influence on the 40,000 Discord server in Cornucopias. On a smaller sense, we're influencing Cardano, and we've got to be responsible. And we've got to lead by example with our ethics, with our values, and removing barriers. That is really, and if we're seen to actually not just say, yeah, this is all fine, just promoting stuff and like International Women's Day as well. We're influencing people, like it or not. We've built a guild. We've got 1,000 members today, nearly 1,000 members. So we cast a shadow, and our team is really dedicated to actually influencing in a positive way, not being silent on matters that count, not being political. We're not a political organization at all, but we want to leave a bit of a legacy. And then finally, data center, rank NFTs, crikey, yeah, I just can't wait. I can't, we're going to formally establish a group of data analysts, and that's going to be looking at the blockchain data and the game data, because they're both very relevant. And that will be, we're hopefully going to, I was talking to the guys the other day and I said, look, go out and just start looking at World of Warcraft data. Get used to data from a game coming in, so we can actually start structuring how we move that data from a game to an API into a communications and a change of direction. So yeah, that's going to be absolute game changer when we've got that economy information and we've got data coming. But that's what our service is to the members and the asset owners. If we were just sat there back in a seat saying, oh, we've got all this land, we've got all these players, yeah, we've got to do something with it. We've got to actually benefit people. That's why we've got rank NFTs, because people will have ranks in the guild which is representative to a level of effort that they're doing. So that data team would have a rank NFT because they are doing stuff above and beyond what the players and the asset owners are doing, but benefiting the whole guild. So that's why we've got our rank structure in the NFTs, because and yeah, that is building an organization.
Yeah, no, again, thank you for those responses. I'm excited just talking to you about what can be when it comes to Cornucopias, and that's why I just love this project so much, man. It seems like they're just hitting it on all fronts, and they haven't left any stone unturned. You know, as a part of the latest Kopi Cafe, and for anybody who's watching that doesn't know about the Kopi Cafe series, I urge you to go watch these. Rob and Josh give us all of these leaks and updates every week on every Friday that basically allow for us to kind of see exactly what to expect. And most recently, they talked about, you know, having a vehicle, which if you guys aren't aware, we'll be able to kind of keep track in our NFTs as to like the wins, losses, and just so many different attributes surrounding the vehicle. But they talked about potentially bringing a vehicle that's been used to a repair shop, repairing the vehicle. You know, I'm just like, man, these guys are thinking about every little piece of this game. And that's what we need in the space. You know, somebody who's taking their time, being methodical, and really trying to understand, you know, how do things work in real life and how can we translate that into an actual metaverse game and make this fun for people to play. So I'm excited about all of that. But that said, we are coming up with about 10 minutes left here. So let's just quickly touch on your guys's or the Knights Guild's Cardano community event attendance. So I had the pleasure of meeting Juju and Isaac at CNFTCon, which took place as a part of Las Vegas in 2022, right? And so that was a really cool event. I got to play the Cornucopias game, got to meet Rob, Josh, Matt, you know, Steve, just so many people from the team, and that was a really awesome experience. What are your guys' plan this year for 2023, given the attendance that we saw last year, and now the fact that you guys actually have some kind of idea as to what to expect this year?
So there will definitely be a Knights Guild presence at CFTN Con. Definitely. I mean, I know Scott and I, we're both UK based. He's Liverpool, I'm London. We're already planning a trip out there, and I know that our US contingent will definitely be there. And how what kind of scale we go on, whether we do something actually formal or whether it is just a community kind of like let's just meet and we don't know yet, but we will definitely have a presence there. And I do think there's talks on doing something in the UK, which would be great for me personally. But yeah, so yeah, if we want to start getting a lot more presence in these community events. You know, they're great fun. I've not been to one, but I got a lot of feedback from the team that went. So absolutely. But even before we go to like in real life community events, in the Knights Guild, we're really trying to reach out to other projects. So we've got a hub, we've got a unit on Carter Station, our gallery. You know, why did we do that? Well, we wanted to go and meet the Carter Station guys. A massive part of Cornucopias is build to earn. In the Carter Station, you have to build your own units. So we want to know how they do it. We want to, you know, so we've kind of worked with them. The Unbounded Earth, we had a massive joint gaming event earlier this week, and they were streaming like multiple games. So we're working, well, not working, we're building almost like relationships with Unbounded Earth. So these community events are great, but it doesn't stop you meeting other projects and meeting great people through Twitter Spaces and stuff like that. So that's a constant for us. We want to contribute to Cardano. We want to contribute to other games. We don't just want to be Cornucopias specific. We've got the Knights Guild in Cornucopias, and we absolutely love that. But we want to branch out. We want to meet other great people. So yeah, we definitely have plans for some in real life events. But as I said, this is what we've got to remember. What we've built so far, no one in the leadership team has taken a penny out of the guild. And when I say penny, it could be an ADA, could be a cent, whatever. This is all voluntary. You know, our NFTs in circulation are in the region of 1 million ADA in total value. No one in our leadership team has taken a penny. So when it comes to things like community events in the US or in the UK, that we'll this is out of our own pocket to do that, and we're doing it because of, you know, we want to go and meet our guilds and meet our friends. But yeah, and that's another reason, by establishing Company X, we can generate funds to do this much more properly and much more professionally. But yeah, we will be there in voluntary attendance.
No, I'm happy to hear that. And I think that's one of the best ways to really just grow your outreach, make connections, and really network, right? And also for anybody who's thinking about potentially becoming a knight, this will really give them an opportunity to kind of see, okay, these are actually what the people are like in person. So I'm excited for it. If you are coming down this year to CNFT Con, we will definitely be hanging out together. Are you bringing, I have to ask you this, are you bringing the actual Moody Hound?
I was just looking for him. I don't know where he is. No, I wouldn't be able to. He struggles to sit in the car for 10 minutes to go down the park. I would love to, though. I think, no, it'd just be me. I'll bring a photo of him for you.
Got it. I think that'll be more than enough. That'll be more than enough. So, in closing here, Moody, I do appreciate your time. I just want to kind of get your closing thoughts and comments here on this entire, interview, the Knights Guild. Like, what is the takeaway here that you want for the viewers here to go home with?
So, well, I always really enjoy speaking to you, Reed. You've got such a good outlook on business, on projects, and it's really nice to be that you're recognizing the guilds as projects in their own right. I think that's really important, because at one point in the future, the game can only do so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they can give us a platform, they can give us all of a really good game, but at some point in the future, these guilds are going to have to take over and actually start, not take over the game, but take over the community, do a lot more to support that almost like organic growth of the game. So I really respect that you are speaking with all the guilds and allowing your community to hear more about the guilds, because guilds do have a responsibility, and they will be a success factor of Cornucopias, and they do need to be treated as projects. You know, we're building tech. I know other guilds are building tech. We've got our own marketing plans. So my takeaway is, one, respect and recognition for you, seeing that guilds are important. And I'm not saying that people don't, but it's raising the awareness on, at a point in time, guild communities could be bigger than today's Discord community. Who knows? And by building these guilds by building them with the transparency and being able to answer the kind of questions you're asking, it just builds confidence in these really early guilds. So that's my takeaway. It's almost not a takeaway. It's thank you for recognizing not just the Knights. I think you know me. I want more guilds. I think more guilds makes it more fun, and it gives players more choice. You know, there's a level of resilience. But at some point in the future, and don't quote me on this, but some guilds might be bigger than the game with respect to influence, and that's really important, that they're built properly and hold the value and the vision of the game.
Yeah, thank you for those kind words there, Moody. And I do agree with you that the guilds do have an important job, right? And the actual Cornucopias game can only do so much, because we know, okay, there's already a Cornucopias community, but building a community on top of a community is a real thing. You really do get a sense of additional inclusivity, and there's just so many additional benefits to it. So I commend you guys for what you guys are doing as well. I thank you for your time here. You're always an awesome guest. Again, it's a little unfortunate that I'm able to see the real Moody Hound at CNFT Con, but seeing you, I think, will be just as amazing and just as fun. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, for any of the viewers who've been watching this entire video, I want to say thank you guys for tuning in, especially all the way till the very end. If you guys want to find out more about the Knights Guild, I will be going ahead and leaving all the links to all their socials and all the platforms that they're currently available on down in the show notes or down in the description below. That said, Moody, again, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to continue to keep up with you guys in the Knights Guild here in future shows. But that said, man, I will see you guys in the next video, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.